Hi YouTubers, it's me Colin and this is TamiyaTruckBuilding. Today I'm going to show you build stages 11 and 12 of the Volvo FH12. The parts for stage 11 are in the inset now. And what we need now is 6 of these. So let's put this on, have a look at the diagram. You'll note that this is the front where the servo is. Diagram's on screen, and the shock absorber mounts are at the front, not at the back. Shock absorber mounts are at the front. So we can start by just dropping one of our pins in there, and if we look at the diagram, they all go in from the outside. So let's just pop that in there, through there, there's one. Let's just pop this one in here, that one's in there. Just move that servo out of the way for a minute so that we can get some nuts on. We've actually got nylock nuts on these now. I'm just going to turn it round because, sorry, I'm right-handed, just to put it together, and then I'll show you doing up once I've got the nuts on. Not much better doing it right-handed, eh? Here we go. That one's on. One on the other side now. Sorry if I'm in the way of the camera, but there's the only way I can do it. Once I get it in position, I'll show you what I'm doing. Okay, we're now in position. We've now got the 2 bolts in there. You'll need a screwdriver for the outside, and you'll need to use one of these spanners for the inside collar tip. Pop yourself some insulation tape around it, because if you don't, it's so slippy you can't hold onto the thing. It's the larger end of the spanner. Do it up. Now the collar on these, the collar has to go right the way through both sides of this bracket. Be careful that it doesn't lock down there, because it'll tighten up at that point, and in fact, whether you can see, but the screw is not all the way through. It is now. You're only talking a couple of millimetres there, but make sure the screw goes all of the way through. Like that. Tighten it up. Check that that's flush, which it is. I'll turn it round over here, so you can see me doing this side. Pins done up there. So the pins do up tight, but they still allow the shock absorber, sorry, the springs to move. So that's the first part, and we've got these on the outside. Now the next thing we've got is we need to connect the 2 shock absorbers or dampers, which go through these eyes here. And the same as the other ones, exactly the same parts, they go through with the part from the rear, like so, and then we pop a nut on it. I'm just going to turn that around so I can just do it right-handed, then I'll show you. That one's in place. Computer beeping in the background. Again, the longer end of the screw to hold that in place. See if I can hold that down so you can see what I'm doing. Make sure that pin goes all of the way in and doesn't foul the 2 sides of that. That's one in. One's done up tight. What we now have is that connected to the spring on each side. So what we're left to do now is to connect that to there and that to there, which is using exactly the same parts again. So I'll start this side. Just get that where I want it. Got the pin in there. Just put the nut down. I keep tempted to do it left-handed so you can see it, but I'm not that clever, I'm afraid. So I'll just do it up. It's just a straightforward nut and bolt. Make sure that pin with the flange goes right the way through the metal. There. If you can get your fingernail down the back of there, you've locked it up incorrectly. So that's one in position. There we go. So just to show you now, you can see the spring mount moving, and this side as well. And that, I believe, completes stage 11. This is stage 12. Now, there was this in stage 9 that they tell you to fit onto the steering arm butt onto this here. You can just see the that onto there. Now, okay, I can do it now for what it's worth. It's a little bit more fiddly using pointed nose pliers, but if you do it first, I just find it flaps about and it could probably get damaged. So I don't bother fitting it until this stage. What we're going to be doing with this one is fitting it on there, and it's going to come across here to the steering, to one of the steering arms, which is going to be fitted in here. So parts 12 should be on the screen now, which is a couple of link pins, very small circlips, and a couple of upright shafts. On the diagram here, we also need to put grease, because the pins run through these shafts and they need to be lubricated. So there's your shaft for your front wheel. The pin will go through there and a little C-clip will go on the end of there. They're great fun to do. So let's get going. We start with these. Now the diagram in 12 shows us the other way around this time. It shows us with this being the left hand side of the vehicle. So the left hand one was the one that had the two connections on it, the two balls on it. Left is the one with the two balls on it, so this is the left hand one. What it's doing now is it's showing it something like that, and the ball will connect between there and there. This one here will connect across to the other side, which will allow, with the long arm, to turn the two together. So we've got that in the right place. Now the pin goes through from the underneath, from that side, and your circlip goes on the top. What I'm going to use to do up the circlip is going to be these pliers, and I'm just going to pinch it across and it'll click into place. That's the plan. Doesn't always work. So first off, because this is moving in here as well, I like to just put a bit of on there, because that's going to be turning in there like so. Yes? Diagram shows the short arm at the back and the long arm at the front, because it could be possible to do that, look. Yeah? If we look at the diagram, this is the beauty of Tamiya, they're very good with their diagrams. That one's showing the small arm at the back and the long arm at the front. The longer one has to be at the front because it has to clear the spring hangers when you're steering. I'm going to put a bit of grease on this. I can't hold it before I've even put the grease on it. There we go. Just a little bit of grease on that. And I'm going to put a bit on here as well. Bit messy, but hey ho. Get that in there. Find the holes. What you've got to do now is try and find where all the holes are to line them up. I'm trying to do this so you can see what I'm doing. That's dropped through the first bit. That's dropped through the next bit, and we're in position. Another Colin tip, if you put a little bit of grease on the top there, right on the top, it'll hold your circlip in place while you're messing around. I think these things, if I remember rightly, are magnetic. So if you're struggling with your hands or your dexterity to be able to pick one of these up, another good way of doing it is like that. And you can always use a cocktail stick to hold it in position for you. Yep, that's got that one where I want it, which is on there now. So what we've got to do is get that round carefully to where we want it. I've just felt it just drop into the groove there. Yep. What I'm going to do now is just put a little bit of pressure just on it from there. And that didn't work. We'll try again. They're never easy. I don't confess to say that these are easy to do. And that happens quite a lot. That's why they always give you spares, because you'll end up shooting them all around the room. Not an easy one to get at, this one. I might do better trying to do it the other way up. So we're going to try it this way this time. Just leave my hand underneath so I keep some pressure on that. There we go. It went that time. There's no easy way to do these. Make sure that that has gone all the way on. Which we can check. Yes, it has now. It wasn't quite all the way in. As you can see now, that's in place. I'm glad that flew across the room, because you can see that even the great Gonzo makes mistakes. Now we're going to put this on here, which I'm just going to use a pair of pliers to do. They're quite tight, these, so I'll be trying to put a bit of pressure on them. Clunk. And I've got one to go down there. As you can see, the arm is at a little bit of an angle up and down. Got it where we want it. What we can do here is we can use bring the steering arm out, which makes it just a little bit easier for us to get onto that. I need to come back just a touch. The servo's got fractionally more than I want. There we go. That'll go on top of there. Hopefully you can see what I'm going to do. I'm going to fit that onto there. Now I'm going to have to turn this towards me, because I've got no chance of doing this and showing you at the camera at the same time. If I can't get in with the bigger one, I may have to go in with the smaller one. I'll be able to see it from that angle actually. I'm going to use a small thin nose pliers on this one. A bit of pressure and it clicks into place, and there it is done. So your servo controls the steering box here, through there and through onto your steering. If I just move the servo, it's a bit difficult to move this servo because it's a metal gear. It's quite a powerful servo, so it takes a bit of pushing, but as you can see, as you move that, it's moving the arms. So now we put the arm on the other side, which is going to be exactly the same, 3 parts. Not the easiest of things to do, and all we do here now is fit this onto here, which I can show you this way. One on there, turn it around the other way. Put one on there. So there we have it, and I think that completes parts stage 12, rather part C, what am I on about? Here we go. You can now see your steering servo, turn your wheels. That's it for part 8, YouTubers. In the next episode I'll build the differential gears. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please hit the like button, and if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel. Bye for now.